Mhm. Hello, everybody. This is our Astro Energy Forecast for the upcoming week of January 5th, officially back in the new year. I hope you all are doing well. And we are going to go over the powerful transits that are happening this week to help you create your wealth. My name is Camille Craft. I'm the owner and creator of Vital Mystic, and we do these typically every week, but I've been taking a little bit of a break. So now we are back, and we are back for a very, very important week. And I'm going to explain what to do during this week and why this energy is so potent and why it's so important for building wealth. So during this week, we are coming and writing off the waves of the Cancer full moon. The Cancer full moon was this last weekend. It was our first full moon of 2026. It was a powerful release as we initiated into the Gregorian calendar of the new year. Now, as we come into the further of this week, we have moon moving into Virgo. And then we start to kind of wane. But most of the transits that I'm speaking about, actually, I've been waiting for over a year for because they are that powerful. So we are in the middle of Capricorn season. Capricorn and Saturn ruled. It means, it's a sea goat. It is also really speaks to strategy, business, success, legacy. Capricorn rules the 10th house and midheaven part of your chart. That's literally the highest point of your chart, right? And so when we come into Capricorn season, we are setting the tone. Technically, this is not the start of the astrological new year. The astrological new year is on equinox in March when Aries season begins. But think of this time as like, cool, this is what I learned from the last year. And then this is going to be happy birthday. And then this is going to be what I'm focusing on for the next year. Think of it as these beautiful building blocks from the wisdom that you've curated since March, right? And so we've gone through some eclipse portals, we've gone through different things, different Mercury retrogrades, and think about the person that you were even a year ago. And so even as we're seeing all of these like 2026, year of the fire horse, by the way, that doesn't start until February 16th, 17th. Um, so we have a little bit of time. Don't feel like you're running, you're behind anything. But what I want to point to this week is really important astrology for building wealth. And so today, actually on Tuesday, 1/6, today, oh, there's a little squirrel coming up to my yard right now. Must be a good sign. On 1/6, we have Moon moving into Virgo, but the most important thing is we have a Venus cazimi today. And so Venus has been going and journeying into the underworld since November. And what that means is that she's not visible in our sky. And typically, a lot of lore has been around when she descends, right? And so when we think about descent, we think about the darkness of winter or rebirth or the things that have to be let go of so that we can create or weave new stories for ourselves or new identities. And so when we think about this, oops, we're a little paused. Okay, now we're back. So when we think about this, the Sun and Venus are conjunct today, but it's in the sign of Capricorn of business, strategy, success. So the energy of love, money, abundance, she is at her weakest, but this is the moment that she takes her throne. This is the moment that she comes into her throne in the underworld, in her shadows, right? And so I like to always think about like lore and what astrology really means and things like that. And I really truly feel like astrology is just like psychology, understanding ourselves and the transits and how they impact us and so forth. And so today is the day where you reclaim your story, your throne, your story around your legacy, around your success, around what you came here to build, what you're ready for, what you're capable of. And I do a lot of work with different entrepreneurs and things about reprogramming. Um, let's hopefully come back on. Okay, now we're back. I'm just going to keep talking and it'll keep coming back on. But reprogramming and rewiring our wealth stories. Wealth not in the way that we are taught to create wealth, but wealth in a way that's conjured from the deep reciprocity of our being. It's very rebellious because it's like, well, instead of doing all the things that somebody else is telling me to do, I'm going to listen to my own intuition and scale something that is in alignment with who I am and who I came here to be. Sovereignty is a rebellious thing, right? To be fully sovereign and not be, and what I mean by sovereign is an integrity with your yes or no, right? Your guidance, your mission, your ideas, what you are truly being called to do. And a lot of times we are taught to perform a certain way, act a certain way, be a certain way. And this modern world tells us we have to do it in a certain way to achieve a result. And I just want to say, most likely you're going to be an anomaly, right? If you choose to live on the edge in any way, shape, or form in that form of greatness and truly listen to your own intuition, you're going to stand out, right? Because that's your job. Not everyone is supposed to fit into a box. So today we have the Venus Cazimi. And so Venus and the sun are meeting together and they're having a beautiful conversation and they're saying, hey, what if, maybe we had or told a different wealth story that I wasn't defined by some goal I was taught to have. Or maybe I actually decided to have a crazy idea and scale something from my intuition and what I'm being guided to do, even though people will think I'm crazy, right? So I want you to think about that. If everything that you have ever thought about wealth, and I'm not just talking about a bank account, because most of the time, money in our capitalistic society is going to give us a form of freedom, right? It's going to give us a form of acknowledgement or freedom or ability to enjoy something. What is the ultimate expression of wealth for you? For me, it's like I get to do what I want in the world. I'm channeling rituals. I get to go travel. I'm free, right? And I'm free. I don't have to do anything. I don't have to rely on anyone. Like I can do all the things and I can take a creative idea that inspires me and I can scale it and I can invite people into that transformation space with me. To me, that is like the bee's fucking knees. That was my dream, right? And so I did it. And so when this wealth story comes forward, I want you to think about, okay, what ways am I still placing my wealth in structures outside of me? Because again, Capricorn rules structure, right? It rules systems. It rules different things. Where am I placing my wealth outside of me, right? Because most business people are going to tell you, oh, you got to do all these formulas, got to do all these strategies. And like, I've scaled a 7-figure brand without doing any of that shit. Yes, I know some things, but I have uniquely followed my gifts, right? And so with that said, I want you to think about, where am I still giving my wealth or my worth away? Is that something that's been in my mind or a story or things that I've been told has to be that I create the reality from? Or do I want to flip the script on that and I'm going to tell myself a new story? So if you know anything about me, I did not come from money. I was raised by a single mom. Both my parents were addicts. It was like a very intense childhood that I should have probably been a drug addict. But I decided to tell a different story, right? I decided to shift the way that I created my sovereignty and my wealth. And that is what today is doing. It's saying, what are you going to take the throne of? What shadows are you? Doesn't matter what the world will throw at you, doesn't matter what they will tell you, doesn't matter how you've been asked to perform or be or structure. What is true for you? What is true for you, and how can we bring that forward? Because when you are fully set free in that space around what that sovereignty is, it doesn't fucking matter what's thrown at you, right? There can be so many different things. We could go through a recession. You could lose your bank account. You could go through fraud. That's not where my wealth is. My wealth is in trust with my guidance, right? And so when you have that sovereignty of wealth, you start to create a different opulent garden than the structures that a lot of us have built and felt completely empty in. So that is why a lot of people achieve high levels of success. Let's keep going. Probably should have reconnected before I got back on here. Let's see if I can. Nope. Let's see if I can reconnect. I don't know if it's working. It looks like it's working on the bottom. Okay, there we go. That's why a lot of people create success and then they're like, I don't know what's wrong. I've achieved everything and then I don't feel anything inside. And it's because we've tried to identify with the success that actually doesn't really make us happy. So, what I want you to do for today is what part of my life does not make me feel or reciprocate wealth, right? What doesn't feel expansive in my life? What kind of feels like, ugh, right? Like what am I doing in this moment, right? And then what are the things in your life that actually do reflect wealth, do reflect that expansion and do reflect that space within that as well. I might have to just do the YouTube version of this one because we keep losing service. Do. Okay, we'll keep going. We're going to keep going. So, what is the wealth story I'm ready to tell? Not the one I was told to create. One. The second piece to this week, I'm going to try to wrap this up very quickly, is tomorrow when Venus and Mars conjunct in Capricorn. So the reason why I want you to do the introspection today is because you're going to take the first action tomorrow. And so when we reclaim our wealth story, we're not necessarily chasing for goals. We're actually allowing ourselves the spaciousness to receive first as if we have already received the result. So tomorrow, when Venus and Mars come into Capricorn, Mars is exalted in Capricorn. It means that it is at its highest manifesting power, which means that you can build legacy much easier when you're coming from the space of that authority, right? That inner authority, not trying to chase something. We'll keep going. Not trying to chase something, but ultimately trying to like just be who you are and then building from within, right? And then the last date I'm going to kind of mark here because this thing keeps pausing for whatever poor connection is going to be 11/9, and that is going to be Sun conjunct Mars. Okay, that's when we build. So if you want a little bit more instruction on this, we have tons of posts this week going out for everybody. I have tons of different rituals and things like that that are going out as well. But these 3 dates today, 1/6, we have the Venus Cazimi. Tomorrow we have Venus and Mars coming together, and then on 1/9 we have Sun conjunct Mars in Capricorn. These are very important dates for you to rewire your wealth story, decide what you are available for, right? Not what is possible, not what you've been told is wealth, not what you've been told what to do, mostly how you're ready to feel. Mostly how you are ready to experience life, mostly how you are ready to be around, right? So if you have a business, think about the feeling of running the business. Think about what the energy of running the business is like, not what you have to do, but what feels expansive in your body. And then you're going to take one action and tomorrow, and then Sun conjunct Mars, you're going to invest your time, your energy, your finances, whatever the fuck you need to do to creating that wealth story in your being, whether that's an investment in a mentor that you've been looking at, whether that's an investment in a savings account, whether that's an investment in something that you are ready to create for yourself, you want to invest on that day. So during this week, very, very, very important wealth dates. We also have the third quarter moon on Saturday. And it's a very busy week. So if you are ready to create success in your own way, we have a few offers. One of them is closing tomorrow for good. It's called Your Wealthiest Year Yet. It will take all of the transits for the rest of the year and it will adapt them to your chart so that you have a complete roadmap on when to call in opportunities, when to launch, when to sell, when to create money magic types of things, when to focus on systems, when to put out, master classes if you have a business. If not, it's going to be different things specific based on your chart on how to create wealth for you and what your goals are, right? We give lots lots of prompts in there for you guys. The second piece is only inside my membership, where I'm doing a 3-part ritual series starting today. It's called the Golden Foundation, and it is the 3-part ritual series to activate with these particular transits and tell a new wealth story. Yeah, I just had a client who had a 196K day from the last series I taught. So if that's something that calls to you, check out our membership. We'll be posting about it as well. So wishing you guys all an incredible and beautiful week, and make sure to mark down those dates, do your rituals, invest, but please, please, please rewrite your wealth story. So it's from the inside, not about what you were told to do, but what you know from the inside, right? What you're available for the rest of the year. And then also taking those actions and making one investment on the 9th. Have a wonderful week, everybody.